Radesham Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Nachari Jamuna Tira Bonachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Oh Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Sri Radha Madhava ki, Sri Sri Radha Giridhari ki jai, Sri Sri Radha Damodara ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Parivraj Gajaja Shudra Shri Shri Mad, His Divine Grace of Vajaranara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Parivraj Gajaja Shudra Shri Shri Mad, His Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Sananta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Kartika Pratta ki jai, Go Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So before reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam this morning, as I promised last week, because we ran out of time, I was going to read a little bit from the Kartik Mahatmya, the blessings and benefits of observing some vratas during this auspicious month. That's okay. So. Okay, this is where we start. I remember one year Jayapataka Maharaj was here, and he compared it to a sale at Nordstrom's, 90% off. How many people are going to go to Nordstrom's when there's 90% off? Quite a lot. Well, I mean, normal people, right, take advantage of it. So when such a sale is offered, who can refuse? So the exact same way, a month of Kartik, so much blessings are offered. Who will not take advantage of performing devotional service in Kartik, because it's the increase is so much. So the greatness of Kartik, these are the general virtues of this month. It says the merits accrued by bathing in all holy places and by performing all sorts of charity cannot match the results attainable in this month, even if multiplied by the millions. That's a lot of bathing. My dear son, visiting holy places, performing yajnas and giving dakshin or charity, residing in Pushkar, Kurukshetra, or in the Himalayas, or offering in charity the weight of Mount Meru in gold, are all very nice. But only Kartik is dear to Keshava in all respects. O Narada, these are the facts. Remember that? Facts, ma'am, just the facts? Okay, for those who are a little older? Okay. So this is where it came from. They got that from the Puranas. Okay, so it says right here, O Narada, these are the facts. In this month, pious deeds aimed at Sri Vishnu's satisfaction yield imperishable fruits. For this is the best month, the holiest among the holy, and the purest among the purifiers. O Narada, the merits and demerits obtained during Kartika are like rivers, mountains, and oceans, in that they are never exhausted. It said demerits. We'll get to that one. All right, Krishna, hold on to your asanas. Okay, there is no month equal to Kartik, no yuga equal to Satya, no scripture equal to Veda, and no tirtha equal to Ganga. O great sage, this is the best month and always dear to the Vaishnavas. By serving Kartik with devotion, a Vaishnava can deliver any of his ancestors who are suffering in hell. Of the 12 months, this month is particularly dear to Sri Krishna. Sri Vishnu certainly rewards the devotee who worships him during Kartik with residence in his own abode, even if worshipped in minimum items, with minimum items. That devotion has to be there, but it could just be a few simple things, and that's we get to that one. Damodar is famous as Bhakta Vatsala, and his month imbibes his characteristics. It rewards even a tiny effort with huge results. Of all living species, the ephemeral human form is seldom achieved by the incarnated being, and throughout his existence, the month of Kartik, which is so dear to Hari, is even rarer. In this world, the results of vows last for one lifetime. But the effects of Kartik vratas extend up to 100 lives. So you're making an investment in the future, as they say. You're investing this month in 100 lifetimes from now. O best of Brahmanas, the results of bathing at Akrura Tirtha while fasting on the full moon day of Kartik can be achieved simply by hearing about this Vaishnava Brata. Okay, here's a few things you can do. This type of vrata yields pious results equal to those available from pilgrimages to Varanasi, Kurukshetra, Naimisharanya, Pushkar, and Arbuda. By undertaking this vrata, even a person who never performs a sacrifice and who never offers pinda to his ancestors can attain the status of a Vaishnav. By restricting his usual eating habits in the course of this Kartik Vrata, one will definitely attain liberation, earning a form similar to Krishna's. O eminent sage, after executing a Kartik Vrata, a person will not take birth anymore. Will not take a low birth anymore. Be he a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Sudra. O celebrated sage, a person who undertakes the Vaishnava Vrata according to his best capacity has liberation already waiting in his palm. That's what it says. A Vrata yields the maximum results even when minimally performed during Kartik. This month is worshipped even by the Deva Rishis and Pitris. Okay, here's some things you can do during this month. You want to hear them? These are the different vratas. Oh, excellent Brahmana, charity, penance, homa, and japa all give unfading results when performed during Kartik. Moreover, whatever one donates, especially edibles for Lord Vishnu's satisfaction, yields perpetual results. So you see people will come and give. Whoever sits in a swastika asana, would you like to demonstrate a swastika asana? You know what swastika asana is, don't you? See pictures of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one leg is like this and the other leg's like that. Yeah, there you go. Okay, what's going to happen to Amogalila? Whoever sits in a swastika asana during this month is rewarded with a full year worth of Agnihotra sacrifices. But you have to sit like that the whole month. Okay. A woman who draws a mandala in the temple of Keshava will shine in heaven like a kapoti bird. That's a dove. Okay. So get out your mandala kits, ladies. Okay. Because you know they decorate beautiful artwork in front of the temples and so on. The man who regularly offers meals to Sri Vishnu, where's Saul? Okay, Bhakti Saul. He's offering, whoever regularly offers meals to Sri Vishnu during Kartik will not meet with calamities throughout the reign of 14 Indras. By eating on leaves of the Brahma tree, that's Butea fondoso, if you know Latin, okay, all past sins are annihilated. Every desire is fulfilled, and the merit of every pilgrimage accrues, and hell will never be seen. So come on, let's find some of those leaves. Let's head out to the botanical garden and see what we can find. Yes, well, we get to that one. Oh, great sage, this Palasha tree is also known as Brahma, so it's a Palasha tree, for it fulfills any desire. A Sudra, however, must skip the middle part of the leaf, otherwise he'll experience hell for the lifespan of 14 Indras. Okay, let's drop down some easier things here. We have to be so technical. Donating sesame, bathing in a river, hearing saintly discourses, serving saintly persons, and eating on Brahma leaves all confer liberation when performed during Kartik. In this month, the merit of donating 1,000 cows accrues to the person who is awake in front of Damodara at dawn. Is everyone awake? Just checking. Okay. And Sri Vishnu's abode is at hand for someone who is awake during the last yama of the night. It's the last 3 hours of the night. That's our Brahma Muhurta kind of time. Kartik Vratas, like serving saints, feeding cows, hearing holy speeches, worshipping Sri Vishnu, and being awake during the last 3 hours of the night are all rare feats in the age of Kali. Rare feats. The benefit of donating thousands of jaladenus. Those are... I can give you the description here if you like, but no one's going to do it. Okay. But it's a kumbha, but there's a whole thing with cow dung on the ground and decorated like this and certain things. When the sun is in Taurus, can be achieved in this month merely by ablution. So anyways, you don't have to donate 1,000 of those pots. You just got to take your bath in the morning during Kartik. The merit of bathing in the sunny Hati Lake, Kurukshetra, on Sunday at the time of a solar eclipse is obtained by a single bath during Kartik. O great sage, there is perpetual value in grains and water offered to the ancestors during Kartik, Sri Krishna's dearest month. Okay, let's skip ahead here. It's about Ashvamedas. So we have a class to give. This gets into the thousands of offenses and even the greatest sins of someone who worship Lord Hari during Kartik will all be forgiven. And if he offers Sri Vishnu his favorite candied sugar and sweet rice with ghee and honors the Lord's remnants, he gains the same merit of performing sacrifices day after day. Okay. Those who bathe, stay awake, offer lamps, and care for Tulsi during the month of Kartik will obtain a form similar to Lord Vishnu's. Those who perform these practices for just 3 days become the object of the demigods' prayers. So if you hear any demigods praying to you, you'll know you've been successful. What then shall I say for those who perform it throughout their lives? Okay. I want to get to the point with the lamps. Okay, let's just get to that. The sins accumulated in millions of kalpas vanish in an instant when a deepa or a lamp is offered during Kartik. Is anyone going back for more now? O great Brahmana, listen to this deepa's virtues, which are dear to Keshava. By offering a deepa in this month, a person will not take birth on earth again. This Deepa Dan bestows all the benefits available at Kurukshetra during solar eclipses and at Narmada during lunar eclipses, multiplied by the millions. O great sage, what is the value of Ashvamedha sacrifices for someone who in this month lights a ghee lamp or oil lamps? By this offering to the Lord, all prescribed activities, even if devoid of mantra, rituals, and cleanliness, are brought to perfection. Anyone who offers Deepa to Keshava during Kartik is actually performing all sorts of ablutions and sacrificial ceremonies. On the other hand, all the pious deeds of the 3 worlds are not effective if this Kartik Deepa does not burn before Lord Keshava. So, now I will tell you about the merits accruing to one who offers a Deepa with camphor during Kartik, or particularly on the day of Dwadasi. So that's going to be Thursday. So get out your little bit of camphor too, I guess. O Narada, all the born or to be born members of one's family line, including all the innumerable forefathers, will enjoy in heaven for a long time according to their wishes and will attain the liberation by the grace of Lord Hari for one who has a chakra on his hand. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Do you draw a chakra on your hand? Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So that's quite a lot just by offering a lamp with a little bit of camphor on it. I think Jalatala puts camphor on it, doesn't she? When she was making them up the day, I noticed the camphor thing was next to it. She must be savvy to this verse.
You told me to do it. You said it was classy.
Oh, well, it helps light it, but also just having the two together during this month is very auspicious. I mean, there's just pages and pages and pages here. A fool who does not offer this Deepa in Lord Keshava's temple during Kartik, O sage, should never be considered a Vaishnav. Between the offering of all existing wealth and the offering of a Deepa during Kartik, so you can offer all the wealth in the world or one lamp. During Kartik, there's no comparison. In fact, the latter is certainly more precious. There you go. But do encourage people to give donations. Don't tell them, you don't have to give anything, just offer a lamp. Say, do both. Okay. 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 And then it talks about all the varieties of lamps that people can offer. Yes?
Bhakti Swami told me like 10 years ago when I was painting and I was running like a madman, he said, you can even offer a match or a lighter.
Yeah, some kind of lamp. Some kind of lamp. Okay. And it talks about illuminating the whole temple, and then a lamp on top of the temple. That was the one that Aurangzeb saw Govindaji's temple in Vrindavan and infuriated him, and he came and marched on Vrindavan. But any kind of offering of lamps, so to do it every day like that, maybe morning and evening. Do we do it in the evening here also sometimes? Look at it, it's voluntary. Okay. Okay, so we'll speak a little bit on the Bhagavatam. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Seventh canto, second chapter, text 42. Idam Sariram Purushasya Mohajam Yata Pritag Bhautikam Iyate Griham Yata Dakai Partiva Taijasayar Jana Kalina Jato Vikrato Vinashyati Idam Sariram. Is that a little bit longer, isn't it? Yeah. Idam Sariram Purushasya Mohajam Yata Pritag Bhautikam Iyate Griham Yata Dakai Partiva Taijasarjana Kalina Jata Vikrito Vinasyati Idam Shariram Purushasya Mohajam Yata Pritag Bhautikam Iyate Griham Yata Udakai Partiva Taijasarjana Kalina Jata Vikrito Vanashyati. Anyone like to chant?
Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Yata pritag bhautikam iyate griham. Yata pritag iyate griham. Yata partiva jasarjana. Yata partiva jasarjana. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Yata pritag bhautikam iyate griham. Yata pritag bhautikam iyate griham. Kaudikai partiva taijasarjana. Kaudikai partiva taijasarjana. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Yatha pritag bhautikam iyate griham. Yatha pritag bhautikam iyate griham. Taudaika partiva taijasarjana. Taudaika partiva taijasarjana. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam. Yatha pritag bhautikam iyate griham. Yatha pritag bhautikam iyate griham. Yataudakai partiva taijasarjana. Yataudakai partiva taijasarjana. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati. Kalena jato vikrito vinashyati.
Ladies? Idam Shariram Purushasya Mohajam Yata Pritag Bhautikam Iyate Griham. Yata Udakai Partiva Taijasarjana. Chato. Kalina Jato Vikrito Vinasyati. Synonyms. Idam, this. Shariram, body, purushasya, of the conditioned soul, mohajam, born of ignorance, yata, just as, pritak, separate, bhautikam, material, iyate, is seen, griham, a house, yata, just as, udakai, with water, parthiva, with earth, taijasai, and with fire, jana, the conditioned soul, kalina, in due course of time, jata, born, vikrita, transformed, vanashyati, is vanquished. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Just as a householder, although different from the identity of his house, thinks his house to be identical with him, so the conditioned soul, due to ignorance, accepts the body to be himself, although the body is actually different from the soul. This body is obtained through a combination of portions of earth, water, and fire, and when the earth, water, and fire are transformed in course of time, the body is vanquished. The soul has nothing to do with this creation and dissolution of the body. Purport. We transmigrate from one body to another, we transmigrate from one body to another in bodies that are products of our illusion. Just as spirit souls, we always exist separately from material conditional life. The example given here is that a house or car is always different from its owner, but because of attachment, the conditioned soul thinks himself to be identical with him. A car or house is actually made of material elements. As long as the material elements combine together properly, the car or house exists, and when they are disassembled, the house or the car is disassembled. The spirit soul, however, always remains as he is. Om Agyantivarandasya Garanjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unminitam Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapidam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchika Patarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Paridanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So, by your good wishes, blessings, I'll try to say a few words. One thing I thought of this morning, because it was brought up in yesterday's class, and has been brought up in a few of the classes about Hiranyakashipu, he was following the etiquette that, at a funeral, you try to comfort people and also say some nice things about the departed soul, right? And Prabhupada and I went to one funeral, it was my brother's funeral, and unfortunately, the Baptist minister actually indirectly said my brother was going to hell because he wasn't a Christian. He didn't accept Jesus Christ. So my mother caught that, my father caught that. So it wasn't a good thing to say at a funeral, But you have to be careful what you say. But he made a subtle point that because he didn't, he was going the other way. Right.
I remember we were putting all the maha.
Yeah, we snuck in some maha flowers and Ganges water on his body and everything, just in case. But you have to be very careful what you say in funerals. So again, this is continuing this transcendental knowledge and information. There's two words in the purport and the verse, and the verse itself. There's illusion and attachment. And I gathered some different verses, and one pastime I always like reading in this connection, because even this particular story being told that, especially in this day and age, stories, preachers use a lot of stories because philosophy just is too dry for people and too difficult, and they can't relate to it, they fall asleep, they just can't process it. where are the great philosophers? But if within a story or a pastime, some are stories, you make them up to teach a lesson, and others are the Lord's pastimes. All that transcendental knowledge is displayed in a particular pastime. So here Yamaraj is telling the story, as a little boy on the battlefield, right? And the king, and all the lessons are coming out. So there's another similar pastime. I'll jump right to it. One of my favorite pastimes, bringing this out. First is a little bit of some transcendental knowledge here. And again, listen for those words, the attachment and illusion, because that's what the key is to why we're so stuck in the bodily concept of life. And this is the Tritaketu Maharaj after losing his son. And Angira and Narada Muni are preaching to him. And he said, when I first came to your home, I could have given you the supreme transcendental knowledge, but when I saw that your mind was absorbed in material things, I gave you only a son who caused you jubilation and lamentation, harsha shoka. So he knew he wasn't ready to hear the message. Some people aren't ready to hear the message, so what do? Prasadam. Just give them some prasadam and maybe the holy name, but they're not ready to hear. My dear king, so here's some heavy verses here. My dear king, now you're actually experiencing the misery of a person who has sons and daughters. O king, owner, huh? No, that's coming. That's coming. This is the Angir Maharaja speaking, Narada Muni. O king, owner of the state of Surasena, one's wife, his house, his opulence, the opulence of his kingdom, and his various other opulences and objects of sense perception are all the same in that they are temporary. One's kingdom, military power, treasury, servants, ministers, friends, and relatives are all causes of fear, illusion, lamentation, and distress. That's a real slap in the face for a king, isn't it? He's thinking just the opposite. These things will bring me great happiness and freedom from fear. They are like a Gandharva Nagara, a non-existent palace that one imagines to exist in the forest. Because they are impermanent, they are no better than illusions, dreams, and mental concoctions. These visible objects like wife, children, and the property are like dreams and mental concoctions, as was brought out in today's verse, that because it's all an illusion. Because of the illusion of the body, we're attached to it and so on. Actually, we can see, what we see has no permanent existence. It is sometimes seen and sometimes not. Only because of our past actions do we create such mental concoctions, and because of these concoctions, we perform further activities. So it just doesn't stop. It's interesting about this dissolution and creation across the street here. Now, when did you come here? What year, Prabhupada Das? But what year did you? 90s? Yeah, okay. Early 90s. So across the street there, when I came, over here was a house. A gentleman in there who fixed typewriters. We used to go to him to fix typewriters. Back in the days, remember typewriters? Vaguely, okay. And there was a mobile station there. So we used to fill up the Harinam van there. I remember that. $20, you could fill up the whole van for a week. $20. That was there. Then they smashed it all down, right? And then they built what we saw for many, many years, the tire place, Big O, Express Tires. This was a restaurant at some time, some like sub sandwiches, and they, and then all of a sudden now, it's all gone. They smashed it all down, and they built this building. Animal Hospital has always been there. Yeah, over there. It's been there the whole time, like that. Because there's a lot of animals in Pacific Beach. Okay. It's amazing. Just right across the street. Up, down, smash, bang, new thing. And we may be here long enough to see something else go up. You never know. And then over here, the Oakwood, that used to be a coffee shop on the side there and some old apartment houses, and they just keep knocking down new things. Someone's idea becomes, and then all of a sudden it says here, when those elements can no longer, they no longer can stay together for some reason, it's all transformed and something else is there. Someone else's concoction, someone else's illusion. So, Oakwood, yeah.
I never see any old folks, so they let them out.
Well, if you sit there early in the morning, between 3 and 4 every once in a while, and during the day every once in a while, but usually at night, what happens, they pass away. And you see the ambulance come up from down the street, park, take care of it, and drive off. So they're coming and going like that. They're coming and going like that. So, Angira. The living entity in the bodily conception of life is absorbed in the body, which is a combination of physical elements, the 5 senses for gathering knowledge, the 5 senses of action along with the mind. Through the mind, the living entity suffers 3 kinds of tribulations. It's just through the mind. Adibodhika, Adidaivika, and Adiatmika. That's caused by other living entities, by the devatas or nature, and by ourself, our own mind and body. Therefore, this body is a source of all miseries. Therefore, O King Chittiketu, carefully consider the position of the Atma. In other words, try to understand who you are, whether the body, mind, or soul. Consider where you have come from, where you're going after giving up this body, and why you are under the control of material lamentation. Try to understand your real position in this way, and then you'll be able to give up your unnecessary attachment. You will also be able to give up the belief that this material world or anything not directly in touch with the service to Krishna is eternal. Thus you will obtain peace. The great sage Narada continued, "O my dear king, attentively receive from me a he gives them the mantra for chanting to become perfection. And then it jumps to the next chapter where just, it's like a 1-2 punch in preaching. It says here, my dear King Parikya, by his mystic power, the great sage Narada brought the dead son, the dead son, into the vision of all the lamenting relatives, and then spoke as follows. By his mystic powers, he's able to bring the soul back into the body for a little while. Narada Muni said, speaking to the living entity, I'm not going to read all these because it's quite elaborate what this little soul has to say. We'll just read a few of the verses. So, it says here, O living entity, all good fortune unto you. Just see your father and mother. All your friends and relatives are overwhelmed with grief because of your passing away. The little child sits up. Hi, everyone. Right there. And he says, oh, look at everyone. Everyone's here. Because you died untimely, the balance of your lifetime still remains. Therefore, you may re-enter your body and enjoy the remainder of your life, surrounded by your friends and relatives. Accept the royal throne and all the opulences given to you by your father. By the mystic power of Narada Muni, the living entity re-entered his dead body for a short time and spoke in reply to Narada Muni's request. He said, there you go. He's the editor of the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. He just condensed about 5 verses. Gracias, no. Okay. According to the results of my fruitive activities, I, the living being, transmigrate from one body to another, sometimes going to the species of the demigods, sometimes to the species of lower animals, and sometimes among the vegetables, and sometimes to the human species. Therefore, in which birth were these my mother and my father? No one is actually my mother and father. How can I accept these 2 people as my parents? Because he's had demigod parents, human parents, animal parents, even vegetable parents. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, right? Right. In this material world, which advances like a river that carries away the living entity. We're all being carried. We've come a little bit further in the last 24 hours towards wherever we're going. Time. Carries away the living entity. All people become friends and relatives and enemies in due course of time. They also act neutrally. They mediate. They despise one another. And they act in many other relationships. Nonetheless, despite all these various transactions, no one is permanently related. And one more, then I'll skip some. Just as gold and other commodities are continually transferred from one place to another in due course of purchase and sale, so the living entity, as a result of his fruitive activities, wanders throughout the entire universe, being injected into various bodies in different species by one kind of father or another. And I just want to read one more at verse 12 here. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued, when the conditioned soul, Jiva, in the form of Maharaj Chittaketu's son, had spoken in this way and then left, Chittaketu and the other relatives of the dead son were all astonished. Thus they cut off all the shackles of their affection, which was due to their relationship with him, and gave up their lamentation. After the relatives had discharged their duties by performing the proper funeral ceremonies and cremating the dead child's body, they gave up the affection that leads to illusion, lamentation, fear, and pain. Such affection is undoubtedly difficult to give up, but they gave it up very easily. So, it was referred to in the verse here about this identifying with the material body due to attachment, due to ignorance, and even though it's temporary, it's all falling apart, as Prabhupada says here, uses the word disassembles, becomes disassembled by time. Time takes everything apart. Right? Time puts it together, and time takes it apart. So, and it says there's 6 phases of every material body. You know, it comes into creation, it grows for some time, child, and then it gives up byproducts and then maintains for some time, and then it starts to fade like that. So what stage are you in? Dwindle. You're the dwindle. Okay, we're the dwindle club over here, and then you got the, you know, growing, and then you got the maintaining like that. So, but it's all going to pass like that. We don't think so. We don't think I'll ever be a dwindler, but you will be a dwindler like that. We're all going to dwindle like that. So, just like today I have a ceremony for people who are dwindling. It's Nara Singha Mrityunjaya Havan. I've got a list of 6 people who are having problems with their health. They're elderly. It's very nice. Well, their names. They're in different parts of the world and so on, but it's the Prabhus. That's their last name. I should give a last name Prabhu. Like that. Very nice, Prabhus. So, yeah, that's like that. He's become a devotee. We call him, his name is Ravi and Rati. So Ravi, Rati, Prabhu, like that. So they're dwindling. So it's prayers of Nara Singhadev to help them. There are different health problems and so on. And then tomorrow I have a ceremony for someone who's past the dwindling stage, passed away last Friday, like that. And of course, you know, Jamuna Jivana Mataji passed away. So we have that ceremony coming up maybe next week. So it's all happening. It's just all happening. And a few days ago, I had 2 ceremonies for children who were, well, actually one was for the ceremony. He was 3 years old. So he's on the upswing. He's moving up. 3 years old, running around, having a great time with all his friends, like that. Like that. Has no idea what's coming. No idea what's coming, right? When you're a kid, you just think, woohoo! Like, I'll never grow up. Like that. Who are all these old funny people? Like that. Bulletproof. So, but why is this? Because we're so attached. So, Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process. You have to become detached from the body, and cultivate transcendental knowledge and engage in activities that help us become detached. Otherwise, we land up like Maharaj Chittaketu. Something ghastly and horrible has to happen, and in that state, we get some realization. Another example is Pingala the prostitute. You know the story of that Pingala the prostitute? She's a prostitute, and one night, she's waiting for business. Just outside her house, people going by, but there's no business. And she started thinking, what in the world am I doing? You know, what have I done with my life? And I'm thinking like this, or these are my... And then she became very, very renounced. She gave it all up. It just came to her, what a waste. Like that. So there's many different stories throughout the Bhagavatam and our scriptures of such a thing happening where someone, in fact, they say there are 2 ways you learn a lesson in life. Do you want to know what those are? The two ways you learn a lesson? One is spaced repetition. Spaced repetition. Like over and over and over again, gradually you develop that quality or learn something. And the other is an intense emotional experience. Shakes you right out of it. So here's Chittiketu Maharaj, the little boy, born, and all of a sudden it's poisoned. And wow. And then, not that they're not like, what is that saying? Ambulance chasers? You know, those lawyers, you know? But Narada Muni Angira, they're not ambulance chasers or something like that, but they, you know, one thing I want to tell, you know, those who are watching here, you see many of the speakers are always looking over there, just in case no one's ever told you, most of the devotees are over there. That's why a lot of the speakers look that way. And Dravita's over there, and he's the most senior, so it's not that we got problems with our necks, it just happens everyone's over there. So I notice that when I'm watching classes, a lot of times devotees look this way. That's what's happening. They took advantage of, they actually orchestrated the whole thing. Angira and Narada Muni. They gave him a son, and he said he's going to be a great source of great happiness and also sadness. And Maharaj Chittiketu is thinking, I probably go up to be like a bit of a troublemaker or something like that, but that's okay. You know, he had no idea what kind of lamentation was coming due to the great attachment, somewhat happy, and then like that, taken away as a child. And then in that state, he was very receptive to hearing spiritual knowledge. But he was also pious, because if a sinful person has something horrible happen to him, they may not necessarily be receptive. They'll blame God and so many things. So he was.
I'm a good person, bad things happen. You say he's so merciful and powerful, whatever.
Right, like that. So they can't understand. They can't understand. So it's already 8:38. So we brought up a whole bunch of different things during class. Are there any questions or comments about this topic? Much more could be said, but got to keep this schedule.
It's kind of a broken record. I've been making this point whenever I give class or ask a question during this period. But it's interesting that the instruction that Narada evoked from the child and everything, and he gave, culminates in surrender to Krishna. You know, you'll never hear that from Hiranyakashipu quoting Yamaraj. Yamaraj could give it, but he's not really, you know. So that's a very important distinction, that it doesn't come to that in these instructions, because it's Hiranyakashipu trying to console them, and this is the only way to console them. They're still alive, you know. The soul is, but that doesn't get you to the point of surrender to Krishna, which he's not going to recommend, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, a modern example of that is Mahatma Gandhi, quoting the Gita so much and supposed to be a spokesperson of the Bhagavad Gita, but Prabhupada says you never hear him preaching about Krishna, surrender to Krishna, devotional service. Quoting so many verses from the Gita and giving him great solace and knowledge and wisdom, but nothing about sarvam dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam manmana bhavamad bhakto. None of that. You just don't hear it. Interesting. Mahatma.
Now you're on my territory, the Gita, the editing of the Gita. One of the most famous verses is 932. 934 is even more famous, but the one, what is it?
Manmana?
No, Maya Ashritya, Yesham Maya Ashritya, Vaishya Shudras and women. How's it begin? Come on, Moga, you prompted me last time on this one. Yeah, that's the problem. But it's a very famous verse. Even women, Vaishya Shudras, and those
Mami Parta Vipasya.
Yep, Mami Parta. Mami Parta Vipashyati Episu Papayonias, Triya Vaishyata Shudras Epiad. So for years, 50 years, we've had in translation, which Prabhupada did not give, of even those who are lowborn, dash, women, Vaishya Shudras. And if you look at what the original word for lowborn is, it's papayoni. So it puts the Vaishya Shudras and women all as coming from sinful families. How is that true? You know, Queen Kunti, Gandhari, all these saintly women, they're all Papayoni. So where did that come from? It came from that practically exact configuration, you know, of lowborn and then a dash, putting all the others into the bed. Nikalananda, from his Gita. Hayagriva was cribbing from them. He actually got permission to do that from Prabhupada. It was in 1967, Prabhupada was at Stinson Beach recovering. Hayagriva went there and they were working on the Gita together. And he would come to Prabhupada all the time with questions on the translations. And finally Prabhupada said, enough already with the translations. I'm trying, you know, the most important thing is the purports, and you're taking my time away from that. So just, there's so many Gitas, and translations, use one of them and take it. And he said, oh, I can't do that, it's plagiarism. And Prabhupada, why? These are Krishna's words, you could do it. So he had a series of them. Most famous is Radha Krishnan's. The Blessed Lord said came right out of there. Dr. Radha Krishnan's thing. But this one came from Nikalananda, who was an impersonalist. He actually translated Sharirika Bhasha, which I bought the book when I was, you know, I hadn't met the devotees yet, but I never read it, thank God. Lord Chaitanya says, you read it, you're finished. But we never knew where that came from until recently. And so Baladev Vidyabhushan didn't have that either, you know, and Prabhupada was following him. So that's, in the new Gitas, you'll see when they come out, they have a different translation. 4 different qualities: the lowborn, the women, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, which is what Prabhupada had. And also he took a line, Hayagriva took a line out of the purport, which was contradictory to the translation. And now it's back in there.
Okay, anything else? So we can end here, right? Jai, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Kartik Bharata ki jai. Remember, make sure you got camphor on your lamp Wednesday. It's Thursday. Lamps with camphor? No, they're going to put it on here. We have the camphor, but I'm just saying it. Wow.